Hey guys, just thought I'd share with you a couple things that I had thought about after completing my last backpacking trip, which was 25 miles in well below zero temperatures, and some things that I encountered that I thought maybe I could help you out with, share some tips, and let me know what you think. When I hike in the winter in particularly, I'm taking 3 pair of wool socks. The pair that I wear, which are going to be soaked by the end of the day, I keep 1 pair specifically in my dry bag with my clothes that I sleep in. And then I take 1 pair and I put them over my water bottles. And I don't use anything fancy. I use whatever I happen to be drinking at the time. So this is just simply a tonic water bottle that's empty. I hike with these all the time. This is generally everything that I use. I have never invested in any high-end water bottle. Take your extra pair of socks, throw your water bottle in your socks, and fold that over and stick it right in your bag just like you normally would. It's available to you to drink all day. If it's snowing, put your rain cover on. Obviously, you don't want to get that wet, but that absolutely worked. You know, you might be thinking, hey, no big deal. When I get to camp, I'll just get a fire going. Well, there's a few things that can happen throughout the day that might make that not possible. Number one is, let's see if I got the right pocket here. There you go. So, yeah, don't worry. When I get to camp, I'll just start a fire. Well, that's working perfectly right now. It's probably about 27 degrees here. You sleep overnight and leave one of these things out, or don't keep it in your pack or bag or somewhere close to you where it's warm inside the sleeping bag. When you wake up, all you're going to have is going to be the spark. These will stop working, so you need to keep it on you, hold it in your hand for a while. Better yet, keep it wrapped up in your pack with some of your clothes. When you go to bed, to make sure that you've got fire for the morning, I would suggest that you keep this thing in your sleeping bag. Put a little bag together to throw at the bottom of your sleeping bag. But that's a rude awakening, and you know it won't matter, excuse me, if you have fire starters like this, for example, which I love and use these things all the time just to get fire going. Can't get a flame off of here, these aren't going to do you any good. So yes, you could just ignite your stove with that, but I'm just saying these are things that are going to happen. Lighter doesn't work, okay? Another one that you might not think about, hey, no big deal, you know, it's 8-9 degrees. I think I'll recharge my phone. I'll recharge some of my items. Doesn't always work that way, and I'm just telling you, when it's 6 degrees, 7 degrees outside, long periods of time, very cold, I use one of these Anchor bricks, and I love this thing. It weighs a ton, but it's never failed me, and I've gone out, even with Melissa and I, you know, 2 devices over 4 or 5 days, and this thing has never failed. But in that recent overnight, when it was down as cold as it was, this started blinking on me. It actually got too cold. Even if this is warm, the device itself that you're charging, your iPhone, camera, anything like that, that may not be functioning in that weather. And the other one is, even if both of those are working, simply the connector cable going from the charger to the device may be so cold that it's not allowing that connectivity, and you'll actually see your charger flash or your phone shut off. So don't assume that these things are going to work just because you have them with you. And they're batteries. They need to be at a certain temperature, and I'm telling you, that did happen to me. So now what I do is, when it's extremely cold, I wrap up the charger, actually all my electronics, just like this, and make sure that I shove them down somewhere in my pack. I generally cook on a fire when I'm camping, so if I can get a fire going, that's why I don't have, you know, expensive titanium cook pots. I use the cheapest stainless steel jobs that I can find, and one of the reasons is I'm sticking this on coals, on logs. It's just way easier, and why waste the fuel if you can get the fire going? Melting snow all night to make water or tea, this is just a breeze. You know, you just set this thing on there, and I'm not going to do that with something that costs 70 or 80 bucks or is double walled or anything like that. So this is all I use, which brings me to the fuel. So what you need to do with these is same thing as everything else, pretty much common sense. Make sure you got one of your fuel canisters. I usually pack my fuel canister and stuff in one of the outside zipper pockets on my pack. When I'm hiking in the wintertime, I take these guys, I wrap them right up in those same warm clothes that I'm sleeping in. I put this in the bottom of my pack and leave that wrapped up so that this guy is staying warm. Right? If you can get any water that isn't freezing, you can submerge this into that water and it will essentially thaw this out enough that you can get a flame. I've never needed to do anything like that. In Sequoia, we were out there way below freezing, worked fine. And on every trip that I've been on in the East, this has worked fine, no matter how cold it's been, but you have to keep this thing warm. You go in bed at night, another real simple tip, take one of these, take one of your water bottles with the sock on it or not, okay? And then take your charger, things like that, your battery, wrap them up, put them at the bottom of your sleeping bag and leave them there all night. Absolutely the best tip I can give you if you got room and you got a water bottle that won't leak. I had a leftover tea that I made in one of these silver pots and I left that out. That was frozen solid. That was exactly like a popsicle the next day. I just heated it up on the fire and drank it. But the water bottle that was at the bottom of the pack didn't freeze at all. And I was able to get this guy fired up right away in the morning so that I could make coffee. So these are just basic tips, and it might seem really rudimentary, but you know, if this is ice cold, it's going to be a problem. You're not going to get the best burn. Keep this thing warm, it'll work. If it's really, really cold and you've got any availability of running water, you can put this in water and it will work. I've never had to do it though. Put your water bottle in a wool sock, wrap the wool sock around the top, stick it on the outside of your pack and drink it like you normally would, or pack it on the inside of your pack. It will stay unfrozen. When you put sports drink powder and things like that, that also changes the component of the water, also helps it to keep it from freezing. Your lighters, okay? I'm very redundant with lighters. I usually take 2 or 3 with me, one in the pack, one in my coat, one somewhere else. But that was kind of a rude awakening last time that I camped. And again, this was when it was into single digits overnight. You know, got up in the morning, hey, let me just fire up the burner on my stove, and this wasn't working. So obviously I could ignite the gas with the spark, so that worked, but it was an eye-opener, just a reminder, keep these things warm. You know, if all else fails, I always take this little hatchet with me just so I can baton wood and things like that at the campsites. But you know, if you do have something like this, a lot of them will come with a little spark, you know, so you can throw a spark here and get that to ignite something for you so you can get a fire going. But hope this helps. Simple stuff. Keep your stuff wrapped up, keep it warm. You'll have a better trip. Peace.